Sa isang bansang puno ng ingay ng politika at kontrobersya, sino ang nagsasabi ng totoo? Sino ang nasa panig ng bayan? Welcome to Bayang Pinas, ang news channel na hindi takot maglatag ng katotohanan. Dito, pinag-uusapan natin ang mga isyong may kinalaman sa kinabukasan mo, politika, pamahalaan at ang tunay na kalagayan ng ating bansa. Hindi kami bayad, hindi kami bulag. Sa Bayang Pinas, ang boses ng mamamayan ang tunay na headline. Kaya kung sawang-sawa ka na sa mga baluktot na impormasyon at scripted na kwento, dito ka na. Dito sa Bayang Pinas, tayo ang bantay at boses ng bayan. Kung gusto mong manatiling mulat at informed, don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe dahil sa panahon ngayon, ang kaalaman ay kapangyarihan. Ito ang Bayang Pinas, balitang totoo, pusong makabayan para sa sambayanang Pilipino. Tara na't alamin ang tunay na balita.
Mr. President, my no vote is anchored on concrete audit findings, fiscal patterns, and policy distortions surrounding various financial assistance programs or ayudas.
Gentleman from Tarlac in Pampanga, no other than Senator Rodante Marcoleta.
Senator Rodante Marcoleta is recognized.
Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, we're gathered today as part of our solemn duty to uplift and protect the welfare of our people by ensuring that this 2026 budget will be a million light years away from the controversial 2025 General Appropriations Act, tagged as the most corrupt, the most scandalous, and the most anomalous budget the Philippines has ever had in years. Mr. President, my no vote is anchored on concrete audit findings, fiscal patterns, and policy distortions surrounding various financial assistance programs or ayudas. I may not be part of the bicameral conference committee, but I have faithfully participated in scrutinizing critical aspects of this budget. From the committee hearings, sinamahan natin ang napakasipag nating chairman of the Finance Committee, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, hanggang sa isa lang na dito sa plenaryo ang committee report. Let me be clear at the outset, Mr. President, I voted in favor of the Senate committee report. I supported our Senate version because it reflected hours of rigorous scrutiny during committee hearings and plenary debates, where we collectively tried to correct the mistakes of the past, particularly those that plagued the 2025 budget and the corrupt and rotten system that gave birth to and proceeded from it. However, come the bicameral conference committee deliberations, tila bumalik sa dating forma ang mga alokasyon na maingat nating binantayan. I commend the move of both houses in acceding to the call of the people to have a transparent and open bicameral conference, and in giving the largest allocations to education, health, and agriculture as mandated by our Constitution. Yet despite these praiseworthy actions, it seems that we have let our guards down in deterring provisions prone to abuse and political patronage. Mr. President, I am not against helping the poor. I have always fought for them. The state has the constitutional duty to assist vulnerable sectors in pursuit of social justice. But after decades of pouring billions into short-term assistance, we cannot deny that the current system of socio-economic interventions is not lifting out our people from poverty. It is merely managing it, and poorly at that. From the start, I have repeatedly expressed my position on the proliferation of ayuda programs. No matter how noble our intentions are, Mr. President, the outcomes fall short of what we envision. After years of pouring billions into short-term assistance, the hard truth remains. The lives of our people are not improving. Worse, the number of Filipino families who consider themselves poor continue to rise. The data are unmistakable, Mr. President. The September 2025 Social Weather Station survey revealed that 50% or at least 14.2 million Filipino families consider themselves poor, 1% higher than the 49% previously recorded just 3 months earlier. In 2024, the annual average for self-rated poor families stood at 57%, while both 2023 and 2022, the average was 48%. Even more alarming, as of November 5, 2025, about 22% of Filipino families experience involuntary hunger, going hungry with nothing to eat, at least once in the past 3 months, the highest level recorded since 1998 outside the pandemic. Mr. President, these are not abstract statistics. These are lived realities. And they beg the question, if ayuda is working, why are more Filipinos continue to be hungry and poor today? AIX, MAIFIF, TUPAD, samut-sari na ang naimbentong dagdag na listahan ng mga ayuda. Iba't ibang termino rin ang nagagamit. Ngunit patuloy lamang itong naaabuso at nagagamit pang politika. At hindi ito haka-haka lamang, Mr. President. Ang Commission on Audit na mismo ang nagsabi, noong 2024 COA Audit Report, binatikos ang 4.157 milyong AIX disbursements na inilabas kahit kulang ang mga dokumento. Ilang DSWD field officers din ang nag-ulat ng mababang utilization rates, non-compliance sa payment schedules at weak validation ng mga beneficiaries, creating serious risks of overestimated targets and improperly screened recipients. COA further reported a duplication between AIX and ACAP, allowing multiple availments by the same beneficiaries, assistance granted to above minimum wage earners and college students, repeated assistance within short periods from different offices, and the non-implementation of 168 out of 288 prior audit recommendations. Yet here we are again. The Bicameral Conference Committee has finished off with the greater budget for the ayuda programs, including an additional 4.8 billion for AIX, bringing the total to 63.9 billion. A total of 22.44 billion for TUPAD, after the Senate has deliberately reduced it to 13.08 billion, or third reading from the House proposal of 21.03 billion. The revival of MAIFIF at 56.6 billion, despite the Senate's earlier attempt to shift to zero balance billing to curb politically mediated medical assistance and push genuine universal healthcare reform. And the insertion of 10 billion for the presidential assistance to farmers and fisherfolk, despite its deliberate removal under the Senate committee report. These 4 ayuda reforms or programs alone, now totaling 147.9 billion, are just among the many other discretionary assistance programs. The same pattern emerges in the restoration of unprogrammed appropriations. After initial assurances that these standby funds would be scaled back, the Bicameral Committee reversed its course and restored unprogrammed appropriations to 243.4 billion, even higher than the House-approved level, as far above the Senate's reduced version of 174.55 billion. This is recklessness. Mr. President, when we place massive increases in ayuda and standby funds side by side, a troubling picture emerges. We are expanding both the soft channels of political patronage and the fiscal backdoors that allow them to be financed, all while claiming to pursue reform and discipline. This is impunity. Mr. President, other countries show us that assistance can be productive and empowering. Vietnam, for example, focuses on livelihood-enabling support, such as boats and fuel subsidies for fisherfolk, rather than endless cash handouts that foster dependency. Yet in this bicameral report, we doubled down on program funds and lump sum assistance instead of redirecting resources toward long-term solutions for food security, jobs, education, and healthcare systems. The Philippines can take it a notch higher by enhancing the implementation of our electricity lifeline rate. Senate Bill number 63, one of my priority bills, Mr. President, aims to exempt all household consuming 200 kilowatt hours of electricity or less. A median of about 1,750 pesos for 5.5 households will only cost the government an estimated 115 billion pesos per year. This provides for a more transparent and targeted assistance for qualified individuals. It should be pointed out that under the 2025 GAA alone, Sir President, 194 billion worth of ayuda was set up for the beneficiaries of PORPIS, MAIP, AIX, TUPAD, and AKAP. Senate Bill 63 can lead the way for the re-evaluation of these programs in the future and hopes for lesser reliance on these unviable interventions. After deliberate consideration of this submitted bicameral conference committee report on the agreeing provisions on House Bill 458, it is with heavy heart that I cast my no vote, Mr. President. I hope that my good friend Senator Sherwin Gatchalian will find it in the goodness of his heart the reasons why I am objecting to this bicameral conference report. Masakit ang loob ko na mag-object dahil kasama niyo akong nagumpisa at nagsimula sa pagbusisi nitong 2026 budget. But I stand my ground for the conviction against the chance of possible abuses of the budget. Despite all the protective measures instilled in this budget, there is the ever-present danger of loopholes in the wordings that may be exploited. An uncomfortable reminder that safeguards on the paper do not always prevent abuse in practice. Matuto na tayo sa mga multo ng kahapon. Huwag na nating bigyan ng pagkakataon na maulit ang mga anomalyang hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa napapanagutan at nagdulot ng pot sa ating mga puso. Maraming salamat, Mr. President.
George the Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'd like to recognize next to deliver explanation of vote, no other than Senator. Recognize a distinguished colleague, Senator Lauren Legarda, to give her
Senator
explanation of
Lauren
vote.
Legarda is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the outset, allow me to thank and to congratulate our chair, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, for his thoroughness, for being calm throughout all the sleepless days and nights, aside from being bright, of course, and being very patient with all of us on both camps, whether it's a House of Representatives or the Senate, and even with the staff. For that, we're very, very grateful. And allow me to say that even if I was a chair for 5 years, I learned so much from Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. I would also like to thank the Senate leadership, Senate President Tito Soto, Senate Pro Tempore, Ping Lacson, who had guided us throughout the BICAM, even if you were not physically there, so that we could come up with the best and most transparent budget possible, as well as each and every member of the chamber. It was really it was a new experience for me, even if I had been here for almost the longest time, but it was very refreshing, so to speak. Yesterday, the 28th of December, in my capacity as a member of the Senate and member of the Bicameral Conference Committee, I voted in favor of the Bicameral Conference Committee report subject to certain reservations. My reservations arise from the national government's continued failure to remit PhilHealth's actual legally mandated sin tax revenues from year 2023 onwards and statutory shares from PCSO and PAGCOR since 2019, undermining the Universal Health Care Act principally authored by our dear colleague Senator J.V. Ejercito and supported by all of us here, and delaying the transition to an institutionally guaranteed zero out-of-pocket care framework in public health utilities and facilities. I further emphasize that our shared responsibility does not end with the enactment of the 2026 GAA. We must continue to closely monitor and evaluate the implementation of all health programs by the Department of Health, as well as projects across all implementing agencies to ensure that approved appropriations translate into measurable outcomes and full value for public investment. Despite these reservations, I stand by the Bicameral Conference Committee report, which seeks to strengthen our human capital through sustained investments in health, education, the highest in history, I believe, agriculture, and other sectors that directly affect productivity and quality of life. It positions human development as a central driver of economic growth rather than a secondary objective. Ang paglandang ito ay hindi formalidad lamang, bagkus ito'y paninindigan na ang bawat pisong inilaan ay may malinaw na layunin at dapat maghatid ng tunay na susukat at konkretong pakinabang sa bawat pamilyang Pilipino. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I'd like to recognize next to deliver explanation of vote, no other than Senator Risa Ontiveros, Mr. President.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, bago ang lahat, ay taus-pusong pasasalamat sa ating Senate panel sa pangunguna ng ating Finance Committee Chair, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, at sa lahat ng Senate Secretariat at Senate proper staff na walang tigil na nagtrabaho nitong holiday season para sa 2026 General Appropriations Bill. Salamat din sa suporta ng ating Senate President Vicente Sotto III, who stood by the Senate position during these historic open BICAM deliberations. Mr. President, dear colleagues, my vote is yes for the BICAM version of the 2026 national budget, even as I have serious reservations about unprogrammed appropriations and other issues. I believe it is possible, while registering my reservations and objections, to lend my support to the crucial reforms in this budget towards transparency and better governance, and the undeniable wins for people's health, education, and the protection of our women and children. Last year, the 2025 national budget featured zero government subsidy for PhilHealth, which is why I voted against it. The 2026 budget will begin to correct that by allocating 129.76 billion pesos to PhilHealth next year, including the 60 billion pesos wrongfully taken from PhilHealth in 2024. At sa tulong ni na Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, Loren Legarda at Pia Cayetano, naipanalo natin ang 16.5 billion pesos dagdag pondo sa serbisyo ng PhilHealth mula sa savings ng DPWH. No to bloated costs sa infra projects, lalo na sa flood control. Nagpapasalamat din tayo na isinama sa BICAM version na nagdagdag ng 1 billion pesos para sa zero balance billing ng LGU hospitals sa bawat sulok ng bansa. Dahil dito, mas maraming mga kababayan natin ang makakatanggap ng tulong mula sa mga LGU hospitals natin. The 2026 budget also features an historic budget for education, including the 6.2 billion peso increase for SUCs, which we pushed in the Senate to allow more young Filipinos to enroll in our colleges and universities. Likewise, I am happy that the 2026 budget includes the higher funding we pushed for the National Coordination Center Against Online Sexual Abuse or Exploitation of Children and Sexual Abuse or Exploitation Material, NCC o SAEC-CSAM, for a more effective crackdown against online sexual abuse of women and children next year. Masaya din na aprobado sa BICAM ang 1 billion pesos na pondo para sa Project NOAA. Hindi man lumusot ang ating panukalang pondo sa proteksyon ng Sierra Madre, aprobado ang 565 million pesos para sa greening program and mangrove reforestation. Mr. President, the reforms we secured this year, including the open bicameral sessions and our budget transparency portal, must become the new normal. They are ingredients to push for even more transparency and accountability in the coming budget years. Sa bagong sistema, the open BICAM and other transparency reforms allow the public to better participate, increases attributability of legislators in budget decisions, and begins to get rid of blind spots which enable corruption. It is very unfortunate that some of the reforms you are pushing for, including an overwhelming cut in unprogrammed funds, are not carried in this budget. Still, it is an improvement that the BICAM version includes safeguards aimed at preventing unprogrammed funds from becoming slush funds. Another was the rejection of my proposal for a provision that would have allowed the MyIFIP to support the zero balance billing program of the DOH. This is why I am pushing for my Universal Healthcare Medical Assistance Program bill, which would institutionalize less lines, less uncertainty, and less red tape in our health services. My deep thanks go to SP Pro Tempore Ping Lacson for his anti-political patronage provisions so that politicians can no longer exploit assistance programs for personal gain. And I am especially grateful to our Finance Chair, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, who assured us that zero insertions were made during BICAM. Panghahawakan natin yan. This is what accountability looks like. Mr. President, as we ratify the BICAM version of the 2026 General Appropriations Bill, we now begin the next part of our mandate, maintaining a watchful eye on the implementation of government programs and services. We need constant vigilance to ensure the effective and honest execution of the funds we will approve today. Bilang tugon sa flood control scam at galit ng mga kababayan natin dito, nagsikap tayo sa Open BICAM Resolution, sa Blue Ribbon Committee Investigation, at sa budget reforms na ibalik ang tiwala ng sambayanan sa budget. It is the start of a new era in budget making. Tama na ang mga ghost projects, ang kapalpakan at kalokohan sa paggamit ng pera ng taong bayan. At para makamtan ito, kailangan ng pagpapatuloy at pag-institutionalize ng mga plataporma sa paglahok ng lahat ng stakeholders, simula sa Open BICAM na sinubukan natin ngayong taon. Muli, maraming salamat po sa ating Senate panel, sa ating Senate Finance Chair, at sa ating Senate leadership. Maraming salamat po. Patuloy tayong magbabantay at patuloy na magmamatyan.
Thank you, Senator Hontiveros. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, we recognize the distinguished now no other than Senator Robin Hood Padilla.
Senator Robin Padilla.
And Camarines Norte.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo at sa ating pinunong mayorya. Assalamualaikum.